welcome to eCommerce Australia. I'm your host, Ryan Martin, founder of Remarkable Digital. November is officially the kick-off month for the sales season. We've got Click Frenzy, Singles Day, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and then well and truly into Christmas. By now, you'll have your campaign set up and ready to go if you're getting involved in the sales period this year. Two things for consideration. Customer experience is going to be key. Is there good congruency from the EDM or the ad creative copy to where you're sending the traffic to? And then on each product page, does it have all the information someone will need to make a purchase? Do you have the FAQs, delivery timelines, warranties? Do you have social proof, UGC, reviews? From an SEO lens, do you have Google Search Console set up? It takes less than 10 minutes. It's the best single source of truth when it comes to reviewing how people found you organically during the next 2 months. The learnings from here will set up a great 2025 and build on next year's offering as well. Lastly, those that know their customers best win. So do everything you can to get even more data on the motivations, the use cases, the questions that people have in any part of the customer journey. And then post-sales period, also worth really looking into that cohort analysis to identify if new customers in a sales period are actually worth it, i.e. do they become brand advocates and purchase again at full price throughout the year, or are they only purchasing heavily discounted windows? If so, that's okay. It's just really good information to be able to use that data and inform your strategies for 2025. Introducing this episode with Peter and Adam from Blend Commerce and the eCommerce Collab Club. Pumped to publish this episode, two real characters who know their stuff when it comes to conversion rate optimization and e-commerce more generally. Had really good fun recording this. Some of the insights they share are absolutely worth listening to and acting upon. The question I have in the poll is around Google Search Console. Do you have it set up and ready to go? Yes or no? Nice and easy one. Hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to another edition of eCommerce Australia. This is a new first for us in having two co-founders on the podcast. And it sounds like it's going to be a great fun. So Adam and Peter are the directors of Blend Commerce, which is a Shopify CRO agency, and the eCom Collab Club, which we'll touch on in more detail shortly. Adam is based in the UK and Peter in Peregian Springs in sunny Queensland. So they just qualify under the Australia part of eCommerce Australia podcast. They do some ripping content, well worth a follow on LinkedIn to the boys as well. But most importantly, looking forward to hearing from you guys and how these e-commerce brands can help improve their AOVs and their conversion rates, and we can mix in a bit of humour on the side. How does that sound to you two gentlemen?
Sounds good to me, mate. I mean, I'm so glad you've actually let a Pom A Saffa on an Aussie ecom podcast. So I think we should be highly honoured. So we'll try and do our best and be on our best behaviour.
Right,
Speak for yourself, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I did think Peter was an Australian until because I thought he lived in Queensland. That's no worries. And then I read his bio and he mentioned the Springbok, and I thought, oh yeah, right, okay, got me here.
Yeah, you suddenly got quite disappointed, unfortunately. But yeah, never mind. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily,
it's disappointing.
Luckily, we haven't followed the Wallabies since about 2012. As a nation, so I've got no idea how they're going.
Yeah, you best don't want to find out either.
Gregan's not still playing, is he?
Yeah, no, it's still there. That's part of the problem.
Nice. No, looking forward to it. As I said, I've been consuming your content for a little while, and it gives me a good laugh, and it's highly engaging in a good sense. It's supposed to be. So yeah, looking forward to talking about conversion rate and some of the events that you guys are running. But let's get to know you both first. So having two people on there, I'm going to direct these at Adam to start with, and then we'll go to Peter second of all. So Adam, favourite holiday destination, mate?
Favourite holiday destination for me is definitely Thailand.
Nice. How far is that from the UK?
About 13 hours, but had some great times there. And Peter's looking at me very annoyed because he's probably going to say Thailand because it's also where he got married. But oh well, that's what I like to do. I like to steal Peter's ideas and then pass them off as my own, which is the way we run business. But yeah, just had a great time there. Been there 3 or 4 times, and yeah, lots of happy memories.
Nice one. Yeah, well, you're going first, so you're going to be able to get all the good answers, and Pete's going to have to get creative. Favourite food or favourite, maybe favourite food, because if you say a favourite restaurant in the UK, I would have no idea.
Favourite food for me, in all honesty, is still steak. I mean, when it comes to it, like I'm sorry for all the vegans listening. I apologise, but I love eating cows, and they're just delicious animals. So yeah, I'm still a big steak fan. But I must admit, when I was in the Gold Coast with Peter, and I'm gonna say it correctly, the acai bowl that they have for breakfast. Oh my God, man,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And you can't really get it in the UK. Like, you can get it in these crappy little packets, but it's not the same as sitting in the sun by the beach and eating it. So yeah, I love that too.
Nice, yeah. Well, you've covered the vegans off well. They love a nice sour bowl.
Yeah, I mean, all the vegans have stopped listening now, which is great. So sorry
How
about
do you
that,
have your
guys.
steak?
Rare, usually.
Nice,
Yeah,
real meat lover.
Yeah, I mean, I spent too much time with the South Africans. I mean, they would still eat it as it was roaming around the field. So, like that's where I've learned it from, basically.
Last book read?
Spot the Dog to my 3-year-old daughter last night, but from a business point of view, I think probably the last one I read was a book called How to Talk to Anyone. And although that might seem weird that this absolute loud, horrible Pommy is talking away to everyone now, I actually do find kind of those networking situations quite difficult. And it basically gives you like 75 different practical ways that you can go up and spark a conversation with someone that you don't know. So if you get a bit anxious about networking, or kind of just generally just kind of like public speaking, really good book to read because there's lots of like small little tips and chunks that you can use in there.
Okay, yeah, nice, yeah, absolutely. It can be a little bit awkward networking, and that's a good book for anyone struggling with that. Let's skip the next one. I'm going to go. What best piece of advice you've been given?
Prior preparation prevents piss poor performance. And in all honesty, like it's still so true now. Like for me, unless we've got a plan in place or something, it ain't going to work properly. So that's still something that always sits at the back of my mind before we plan or look to do anything.
Yep, yeah, nice. I like it. Says the bloke who turned up 20 minutes late to the podcast.
Listen, it's early. It's early for me, and I've got kids. That's the excuse I'm going with anyway.
It is. What podcast do you consume? What do you listen to on when you're commuting back and forth, or when you get a bit of time?
See, the thing is, you're probably going to expect me to give you some like really like kick-ass e-commerce podcasts.
No.
Honestly, but the one I love is Bad Friends. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's basically two American guys who just rip the hell out of each other with guests interspersed. So yeah, Bad Friends, brilliant podcast, very funny. They've had guests like Jack Black and lots of different people on there. Really good one to listen to.
Nice, yeah, I'll give it a listen, absolutely. I mean, e-commerce podcasts are great, but you do need a bit of a break and a bit of humour from time to time. So.
Yeah, especially guys like me and you and Peter that do it all day. It's maybe not necessarily the first thing you go for when you're trying to relax.
Mate, I was going to say, luckily this episode's got it all, so we'll cover all the bases. All right, so I feel like I get to know you a little bit. We got to know you a little bit better. What about yourself, Peter? Favourite holiday destination you may be living in today?
I swear on this podcast, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the fucker took my fucking favourite holiday destination. Yeah,
Thailand. You can both have it.
I've been there more times than I think I can count right now, but had my wedding there. It was amazing. But yeah, just had some of the best times there. Just love the relaxed vibe. Adam and I we were holidaying there. Let's just backtrack here a bit. Adam and I are actually brother-in-laws.
Okay.
Our wives are sisters. So
right.
That's how we're connected.
Yep.
We were there on holiday. We were going to the Black Moon party. We were staying in this little backpacker place. We got some cold beers. Adam looked at the bar and went, "Hey, can we take these into the sea?" The sea just looked amazing. The sun was setting. And Adam said, "Can we take these into the sea?" And the guy just looked at it and goes, "This is Thailand, man. You can do whatever you want." Terrible impersonation there of his accent, but that's essentially what we love about that vibe. I think it's very relaxed and you can just chill there and do what you like. Within the law, let's keep it that way.
Yeah,
I'm glad you
yeah,
But
mentioned
yeah,
that.
yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah.
gotta keep it within
Nothing
the
illegal. I don't think that's great on the podcast, but
Oh,
just
no.
chilled, just very
yeah,
chilled.
nice one, mate. And favourite food?
I am gonna say a good old British Indian curry. Sounding weird in saying British Indian curry there, but yeah, and you just
Oh,
can't get them. Yeah, you can't get them in Australia.
I've got a few mates from the UK, and yeah, they do love a curry late at night. We sort of Aussies generally go for the kebab, but you guys go for a curry. Last
Definitely
book,
miss that.
last book read.
I'm gonna rather say a podcast.
Okay.
I've become a podcast geek. I think. I didn't listen to podcasts. Sounds weird. Going on a podcast, run podcasts, been on other podcasts, but I wasn't a podcast listener myself.
Yep.
And I sort of gone off books because I used to listen to audiobooks instead of actually reading them. I can't read, so I have to listen. No, I
I
consume
was going to say
content
that
better
Dan said
listening
that.
to it. So yeah, I've become more of a podcast guy, and I'm listening to podcasts like Stephen Bartlett and Andrew Haberman, and all those type of podcasts where there's a bit of life hacking.
Yep.
Not e-commerce, so yeah, bit of a disappointment on that front as well. Not listening to e-commerce podcasts much,
Mate, you
but listening to those other ones, just like how people and Andrew Haberman in particular is great with these scientific facts that are coming out and different things and what that means and how you can use those different facts to help improve yourself.
yeah, they're getting quite a lot of listens and downloads. Huberman, it goes for about 3 hours though, so
Yeah, it's long.
can't quite kind of commit to that. I don't think I've had a relationship last that long, so I don't know if I'll be able to listen to a podcast.
I was going to say, it sounds
I
like a
do. I
great
listen when
podcast
I'm
to fall
walking.
asleep to.
What's that?
It sounds like a great podcast to fall asleep to on a flight, maybe. 3 hours.
No, it's the dog walk in the morning. It's brilliant. You can just lose
No.
yourself and walk for hours just listening to these people ramble on.
And what's the best piece of advice you've been given?
Give less fucks.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm dropping lots of F-bombs already. This is great.
Yeah. Mark Manson's actually doing a talk here, I think, in a couple of weeks' time. The
Yeah.
author of Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. So
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, good book, good philosophy most of the time, generally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, from our side, it's just, other people's opinion. Look, don't be a dick. Like, you're still going to be a nice person, and that's not what I'm saying if I give less fucks. I'm saying don't worry about what other people are thinking, because ultimately that's their opinion, and that doesn't really matter to you, so rather worry about what you think about yourself than what other people worry about you.
Yeah,
Things
exactly.
getting deep here.
No, 100%. Yeah, we're getting into Huberman style podcast ourselves here. All right, so let's give the listeners what they came here for is some knowledge. Apart from getting to know your two good selves and giving you guys a follow on LinkedIn and all the various platforms. But yeah, tell us about 2024. Maybe who wants to go first? But tell us about 2024 and what the best in e-commerce are doing to improve their UX and their websites and ultimately to have the best conversion rate that they can.
Cool.
Peter, do you want to go
Do you want me to
first?
take it?
Yeah, go for it, buddy.
Yeah, maybe Peter can go first. You hogged all the good answers with the steak and the Thailand, so we'll level it up. We'll keep it fair.
I mean, like, to put a broad sort of thing on it, I would say simplicity and reducing friction. We're all driven by content right now that we just constantly fed content, right? And people are getting onto TikTok, Reels, etc. And our attention span is getting ridiculously short. And you're flicking through these videos in 30 seconds. People just can't maintain concentration for long periods of time right now. So making sure that your user journey is extremely as short as possible, for one.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is good friction that you can have just to slow people down to make sure that they're thinking about something. It's actually giving them the information in the right time, at the right time, making sure they've got the information they need to make a purchase, but making it as easy and the process as dumb as possible so anybody can do it, instead of them getting to your product page and going, hey, I wonder what the returns policy is on this. Have that somewhere right in front of their face that they can just see it and then get past that roadblock or that objection and move on to the next stage. That's my sort of broad thing of where I think the best e-commerce sites are going. They're not adding additional fancy features, functionality, and things like that. They're probably stripping those out and improving and making that user experience quicker and easier.
Yeah, fantastic. And before I go to Adam with his thoughts and anything to add there, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I see that a lot with my clients and even professional services. So I feel like e-com leads the way, and professional services, blue collar trade websites, they're a lot of years behind. But that's a conversation I'm having as well right now, is stop trying to add stuff to it. Like the less you say, the clearer the message becomes, and you just leave with one good message. So yeah, absolutely aligned, and great to hear someone of your experience say that as well. Adam, have you got anything to add to that, mate?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I was having this conversation the other day about, sometimes when we meet with brands and you have the head of brand, you have the head of e-commerce, and there's always this kind of friction between the two because the head of brand wants this uber sexy, uber sleek, uber designed site. But the head of e-commerce is saying, look, on my head, I've got to make sure that we sell X, or our LTV is Y, or our AOV is this. So that kind of going back to simplicity is important. It's like, we have a client at the moment, a car parts company, and just there's lots of simple things that people aren't doing. Like, for example, if you have like a guarantee or if you have a returns policy, people have that on their like homepage or their about us page, but they won't, for example, put it underneath their call to action button. Now, one of the things that we did with this brand is that we went out and did a customer survey. And we went to the highest LTV customers and said, look, what are the factors that make you keep shopping with this company? They come back and say, look, the people spending the most ultimately are saying, look, it's the returns policy and it's also the warranty. So literally all we did, we put the 90-day returns policy and also the warranty indicator just below the call to action. Within 2 weeks, we get the results back, 5% upturn in conversion, 18% increase in AOV. So it's these small plays, like Peter said, stripping back, not worrying so much about, look, we've got to have these big, bold, brash features, design all over the place, just making it simple and clear about A, what it is you're flogging and selling, and secondly, getting them to the checkout as easy as possible. So yeah, completely saying what Peter's saying, but just kind of an example there, something so simple that really actually turns the needle, which is what we all need right now.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that. It's a really good, a really good way to package that answer up in terms of a case study like that, which sounds amazing. And one of the things too I touch on a lot with this podcast is around knowing your customers. So really refreshing to hear that as part of that CRO service or project, you guys actually got in touch with their customers and asked the question and then took the feedback on board, implemented it, and then you've seen the changes improving.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan. Like, I feel like a lot of e-com brands world over, like we work with people in Australia, in US, UK. There is always this fear of e-com brands of going out to talk to customers. Do you find the same, like in terms of like surveys or meeting people? Is that the same perception you have, that people are fearful of doing that?
I'm not sure I'm not sure whether it's fear or. I was just saying to Peter before we press record, like what I love about you guys, you're putting yourself out there, you're being authentic in your content. Sometimes the e-commerce founders, they don't want to be the face of the business, and maybe that starts to relay into, they don't want to call customers or whatever. They want to just kind of keep working on their website, doing their products and working in their business. Or maybe they don't know how. Maybe they don't know just to give them a call. It's a bit old school maybe to give someone a call. But I do find the most successful people that have been on this podcast, that is the number one thing that they have all had in common was the fact that they were never too busy to give their customers a call or implement a survey or do something to get customer feedback. And even for our businesses, right? Like that's the best way is to get customer feedback. So
Totally.
I'm not sure if it's fear, but definitely they should be doing more of it.
It's interesting to know because I think, like you say there, I think the thing within the UK as well is, look, we are, as a group of people, we're known for this kind of stiff upper lip problem. And I think, in the UK, that definitely is the issue. I think you see less of it in the US because people are more outward. And I suppose, with Australia, like you're saying there, it's that thing of because e-commerce is maybe newer than the other two markets that I mentioned, people sort of want to proceed and plow on and, like you say, not sort of be the face of the company and just sort of hide behind that. But getting out your comfort zone, send that customer survey, it's never going to be as bad as you think it's going to be, and you're going to learn so much that you can use, especially from a CRO point of view.
Yeah, great feedback, great points there. What are conversion killers in 2024 for you guys? Maybe Adam, you go first here. Is there anything that you kind of see on the website that you cringe, whether it's those sort of spin the wheel things, which seem to be making a comeback? Anything that kills conversion in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think image sliders on the homepage, because they slow down sites horrendously. And secondly, in terms of getting people to take an action, they are also pretty terrible, because what a lot of brands still tend to do is they'll have maybe 3 or 4 images on that sliding header, and they'll have a call to action related to a product within that. By the time the customer decides to actually click, it's moved on. You annoy the customer, they scroll down, they leave the site. So for me, if you're still doing that, solid, imagery at the top, yes, great, with a single call to action, and most important thing you want that customer to do next to get them down the shopping.
Fantastic, I love that. Yeah, it's probably typical, isn't it? People that haven't studied ecom or CRO like you guys, you probably go, oh, let's have a few sliders and it's interactive and whatever, but it actually takes away from the messaging.
Yeah,
Peter,
absolutely.
what's your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I think Adam touched on it slightly, how that affects your load times. That's definitely one thing that, yes, we've been banging on about site speed now for about 4, 5, 6 years, probably more. It's still important, but we're still seeing people neglect this. But I think 2024 is poor mobile optimization. Again, we've been banging on about, hey, when you go and design your website, do it mobile first. Make sure that your mobile site version's done. The issue is that we're all working in this industry, we've all got desktops, so naturally we're looking at a desktop screen and we're going, hey, this looks great. And then when you're thinking about adding an element, you go, cool, how does this look on desktop? And then you go, okay, let's put it on mobile now, let's just stack it. You're like, that doesn't work, because all of a sudden you've got things left to right just stacked on top of each other, and the information isn't presented in the correct order. Psychologically, you're not going through the process of objection busting. And then a lot of the times, there's either too much padding, too little padding. The white space becomes not flowing correctly, because everybody's still designing it the wrong way, right? So for me, it's making sure that your mobile version is done correct. And another specific example I'd say, man, the amount of times that we do audits, and when we do these conversion rate optimization audits, the very first thing that we always find is overlapping content. And you'll see, you go to the product page and you've got the add to cart button, but overlaid on top of the add to cart, the sticky add to cart button, overlaid on top of that is your chat icon that's sitting on top there. So people actually can't even hit that add to cart button because it's overlaid by your little chat icon. Wow. Or even in addition to that, it's overlaid by your little call to action to sign up to our newsletter. And all these things are cluttered, sticky on top of your mobile version, that ultimately, which out of those call to actions do you want the user to take?
Yep.
And that's what we're seeing a lot. Because on desktop, it looks great. These things, one's on the left-hand side corner, the other one's on the bottom right. You don't need your sticky add to cart because everything's always there on the screen. It's above the fold. Put on a mobile, and geez, everything's just cluttered.
Yeah, fantastic. That's really good advice. And what do you guys think about the pop-ups and the competitions and all that? I mean, I get it. I get the want and the need for acquiring emails and database, growing your database. But does that have an effect on conversion rate in your experience?
Yeah, I'd be getting rid of those. If you're that desperate to get somebody to give you an email address, go and give them a downloadable. Go and give them some value in order to get that thing. Don't give a discount. You're just ruining your brand. If you're giving everybody that visits your store 20%, just reduce your price by 20%. It's going to make you more competitive, and you're going to get the email address after their purchase in any case. So why do you want that email address before in exchange for a discount code?
I mean, the other thing as well,
you're not giving any value.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam, you go.
I was going to say, I think, the other thing as well is that ultimately those kind of spin the wheel plays I think, they are still working to an extent for sort of more impulse, lower value buys. But one of the things that we've tried to think about, the past few years is like ultimately, if you are a brand that wants to give a discount or feels compelled to give one, what are you then getting in return? Now, spin the wheel. Yeah, okay, you spin the wheel, you get an email address, great, but that's all you get. One of the things that we flipped to using a few years back was on-site quizzes with a tool called Octane. And basically what you're doing here is not only you get an email address, but you're also then getting valuable data about that customer that you can then use in your email marketing. So we've got a food and beverage brand called Hunter and Gather we work with in the UK. The issue they had is that people were coming to site and going, look, there's all these products on the site. They cater for paleo, carnivore, keto, general kind of health and use the general public, but no one really knew what they were looking for and where. So the on-site quiz for them, all we did with them is say, look, pretty much put this personalized food finder on the site. We asked them about their flavors they like. We asked them about what diet they follow, a bit about their lifestyle. We then give them the recommended products. But the beauty of it is that all of those data points then go back to Klaviyo, and then every single email that goes out can use those to dictate what goes in that content. So if you're a brand and you've got a welcome flow like that, if, for example, Ryan, you go on and you say, look, I'm paleo, and I go on and say I'm keto, that section of that email that then goes out for you and I, yours is going to be paleo related, mine's going to be keto related. So if you are going to do the discount, or if you are going to get email address, get something a little bit more than that so you can then market better down the line.
Yeah, spot on. And they're much more high intent. You sort of qualify them to be a much more high intent purchase that will actually open your email, and you're delivering value as well. So
absolutely, because we bang on about personalization, but ultimately, look, personalization has got to be giving people stuff that is actually relevant to them. It's not about sending weird emails with, Adam, notice you're on our site, like you want to have a shower. But ultimately, if you're giving people stuff that, they want and is relevant to them, that's personalization. Don't do all this weird stuff. Just make it simple.
Yeah. I think you're spot on. Sometimes, yeah. This goes back to that first point of stripping a lot of things back and doing more with less, essentially. So probably discounting and spin to win and all those sorts of things probably leads in well to my next question around what are we going to see this coming sort of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas sales period. You guys, we all work with a lot of e-com brands. What do you think? How do you think this last quarter is going to go? And is there any kind of trends that you guys are seeing for brands that are starting to implement their Black Friday strategies? Sorry, I'll go Peter first. So I'll get better at this three person thing.
Good, mate. From my side, I just hope we have less people participating. And I don't mean people actually coming to buy. I'm talking about less brands discounting their brands, making their brand cheaper, discounting for the discounting's sake, losing money because everybody's doing it, and you've got to go get sales, and you've got to boost this revenue metric that is not your profit metric. We've seen over the last few years, we actually did probably about 2 years, probably 3 years ago now. We did a study on a few of our brands that run Black Friday, Cyber Monday discounts and their promotions. We did it a year later, just before BFCM was coming up the next year, to see what the performance was of their previous Black Friday, Cyber Mondays sort of cohorts. So we did cohort analysis of these brands, and what we discovered was the people that they had acquired in those periods had actually lost their money when you looked at the cost of acquisition to that company, then also what these people spent in their customer lifetime value. These guys were literally just coming, and what we saw a lot of times, if they did have 2 purchases, it was they were buying in Black Friday, Cyber Monday this year, and then the next year they were buying in Black Friday, Cyber Monday again, and they're not buying in any other time. So all they were ever going to be willing to pay for your brand was your heavily discounted rate when you were heavily promoting. Now, for some people that might be great because you still might be able to make your margins, but for most people, once you discount to the levels that people expect to acquire a customer in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it's insane. Like, you're just not getting there. The other thing that people don't sort of consider is in Black Friday, Cyber Monday time, it's actually peak shopping time in any case, because you've got Christmas coming up, right? You've got the holiday period coming up, so you've got a lot of people that are in shopping mode in any case that will buy from you regardless if you've got a sale or not. So yeah, you've got your discount hunters that are never going to come back, but you've also got these shoppers that are going to buy from you regardless. So you naturally should have a spike over this period in any case, but now you're going, hey, all those people that are coming to our site to buy in any case, we're just going to give them this massive discounts, and they would have paid full price in any case. And what we've seen with 3 of those clients that we did this with, they've all stopped. Yes, their total revenue over that period has come down, but their profit shot up. So, and also those people are coming back and back and back because they're not discount hunters. They're not people that are just hunting to try and be, oh, I'm only going to buy this brand when it's 50% off. They're actually coming back when the price is the full price in any case. Yeah. So yeah, my hope is hopefully, and I think we're going to because there's a big squeeze. I think there is a big squeeze on the market right now. And I think a lot of more people are getting smarter to this, and they're going to go, hey, I'm not going to discount my brand now, cheapen my brand, just to try to generate some additional revenue, and ultimately I'm looking for profit.
Yeah, mate, very, very well answered. That's succinct and pretty. I reckon it'll be hard to add to it. I'm sure, Adam, you'll find a way to. But yeah, I agree. I think maybe this year is the tipping point where perhaps they do it one more year and then they look at their numbers and go, geez, this is actually really hurting us because we're just sucking everyone sort of through the funnel much quicker from the awareness and the consideration. We've just brought that all forward, and then you look at January, February, March, April, where there's no one purchasing because we've just brought so many people forward to our conversion, and we haven't spent that money on brand awareness and holding that brand integrity. But I also understand that again, it's been a tough year for some, and some are a little bit desperate to move some stock. So a little bit of a foot in each camp, but I do hope that less and less actually participate in Black Friday. I agree with you. Adam, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I mean, just going back to what you said, Ryan, there, ultimately, I think you mentioned that people having a tough year and trying to move some stock, but ultimately, that is why sales existed from hundreds of years ago, wasn't it? It was that when shopkeepers had too much of a product, they marked it down to sell it. So if you're going to discount doing that, great, because if it's seasonal stock, whatever it might be, good. But I think the wider point on Black Friday is that there's kind of 2 things you can do here. One is obviously that first route that Peter mentioned there about looking obviously at those previous customers, but it's also looking at what we would call a toxic product and what we look at a golden product. Because what you'll find is if you look in your data, there are certain products, when that is as the first purchase, the lifetime value of that customer will be significantly lower than others. So that will be a toxic product. So first of all, avoid trying to push that one on Black Friday because toxic customers, toxic product, toxic business. Golden products is when you have a product when it is as the first singular purchase or as a combination purchase, leads to a higher LTV than your average. That's the one that you should then push with a discount, because at that point then, if you're viewing it from a profitability point of view of LTV, yes, you can maybe take that 20-30% on the initial purchase if you know the LTV of that customer is going to be 50, 60, 70% higher than your average customer. So if you haven't made a decision yet on what you're doing Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think that's a route that you can take to sort of try and analyse it.
Yeah, that's mate, you nailed it. Beautiful. That's absolute golden. I've never heard it explained that way, but toxic product, yeah, it makes complete sense. And then the opposite with the golden product, it actually increases your lifetime value, increases the happiness of the customer, and you want more of them ideally, ultimately.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful, mate.
I'll add as well, if you're not going to partake in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, you want to tell your database and you want to tell everybody that you've got on email and on socials, you want to tell them as early as possible as well that you're not going to be doing it, because you don't want those people hanging around and reducing your revenue in this like expectation that you're going to have this big discount. You want to tell them right in the beginning, say, hey guys, this year we're not doing it. So then it's not going to block them in generating that revenue now.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, exactly. Get on the front foot, communicate it. These are the reasons why. Here's what we are going to do instead, and it might be a gift with purchase. It might be an exclusive product for a bit of scarcity, or still getting them to purchase something, but you're not losing that that margin, or losing that brand identity as well. Spot on. All right, let's do an interactive one. Complete this sentence. uh, Direct to consumer brands that do well in 2025 are focusing on what? We'll go with Adam.
They're focusing on simplicity and speaking to the customer. And I know it's kind of what I've said already, but ultimately, the only thing that's going to happen in 2025 is there's going to be more brands coming to market. There's going to be more apps that people are checking on site. And ultimately, there are going to be more and more people that brands are interacting with from a shopping point of view. But are people talking to them? Possibly not. So I think, going back to the core part of business, if you think about that, that shopkeeper we mentioned before, what did they do? They kept it simple. They showed their goods. They said good morning. They said thank you. They asked them if they need help. All that stuff. Just go back to basics, because you're going to stand out in this very hyper complex, over designed ecom world that we're going to be facing in 2025.
Yeah, brilliant. And before I go to you, Peter, when we say talk to customers, can we reel off between the three of us how many different ways that an e-commerce founder can actually talk to their customers? So we got surveys, we got good old-fashioned phone call, we got live chat. Would you include that in terms of a potential communication avenue? We got
Yeah,
emails,
absolutely. Emails.
we
I
got
mean, look, we've
text.
got text, we've got listening, we've got analyzing search data on site, because that's another form of understanding what they need. We've got
Great
net
point.
promoter
Yep.
scores, so NPS surveys to understand what people are looking for. We've got jobs to be done surveys, where we are basically meeting with our high LTV customers and basically getting to the crux of, look, why did they initially choose to come to us as a company? But secondly, what is the core thing that actually the core job that your product does for them? So is it about, if it is a vitamin drink, is it actually about making their needs feel better? Or is it about giving them more energy at 6 o'clock in the morning when they're supposed to be on a podcast that they're late for? So you've got you've got lots, a bit of personal on there, but you've got lots of different ways depending on how big you are as a company to talk to customers. And if anybody wants any examples of these, just connect with me on LinkedIn, guys, and I've got plenty that I can share with you on this.
Yeah, perfect. And so, going back to that first example, or even the vitamin example that you just shared there, was that literally what you asked those people? Why did you shop with us? What was it that kept you coming back a second time? Was it as simple as that, or did you sort of ask some roundabout questions to form that?
Yeah, so with jobs to be done, it's kind of a case that you have to sort of work up to these. And a lot of the questions you ask tend to be then responsive based on what they've done. So generally, with the kind of thing of like, why did you come to us? What you generally start off is saying, look, when you first realized that you're looking for this type of product, what was your first action? So, in that case, I might be saying, well, probably a couple of years ago, I was realizing actually I need to look after myself more. And I started looking on Google to find out if there are any. Sorry, our dogs are now communicating to each other across
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sea, which is
exactly.
great. But ultimately, in that situation, you then find out, look, they were going to Google and they were looking at, they tell you about the companies they're looking for. And then all of a sudden you find out, well, actually, you know what? A mate down the road who I play soccer with on the weekend, he actually told me about you guys. Right, okay, so we've got that point. We then drill down again and we're saying, well, okay, in that situation, then what did you do about it to actually go and find out more about it? So then they might be saying, well, actually, you know what? I can't really remember, but I can't remember seeing this Instagram video you guys did. So all the way through, as you're going down, what you're identifying is all the different touch points that these people see. And then when you get to that kind of crescendo moment of like, okay, like what actually, when you think about this product in itself and when consuming this vitamin product, what's the actual thing? How does it make you feel? Well, actually, it makes you feel a bit more supple. Okay, where does it make you feel more supple? In my knees. Well, tell us more about your knees. So it's kind of like, I guess, a little bit like playing detective, but you're just
Yeah.
trying to get to those kind of innermost crux moments of what it is, because what you can then do with that is you can use that then in your messaging with your marketing, with your on-site. So it just cuts a bit deeper when a customer comes to site rather than saying, B12 infused vitamin supplement drink. Or who gives a shit? But, you know, got sore knees? This will make it better. Or, Just something along those lines, because ultimately, then that's the whole thing. You want people to go, "Oh yeah, that's me." Right, bye. So
Yeah.
it tends to be one for bigger companies because obviously there's a lot of time involved in doing it, but what you can get from it is incredible. But equally, even as a smaller company, NPS surveys, you can learn so much from those, and just tweaking your messaging, tweaking your pages on your site with it, because again, you're learning what customers want, like, and dislike.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Mate, people, I'm excited for our listening audience to hear this podcast because there's a lot of absolute gold here. So thank you for that. When you mentioned jobs to be done, what is that? Is that a strategy or an app or what's jobs to be done?
Yeah, so it's a strategy. So, I mean, Jobs to be done has been around for a long time, but one of our partners, Valentin Radu, who owns the company Omni Convert, really kind of got us into this a few years ago. And it really is just that process that I went through there of
Okay.
ultimately you're doing a kind of a face-to-face interview or video interview with your kind of key, most, highest spending customers, and you're
Yep.
working out, okay, that core moment of what they need your product for. Now,
Yep.
if we, for example, like take you two guys today, you're both wearing white t-shirts. The white t-shirt jobs to be done for Peter might be that he wants to look more tanned because he's finally got a tan after being in Australia for a year. Now, for you,
Here we
Ryan,
go.
it might be that actually, your job to be done for that white t-shirt is you're looking to find the love of your life, because after this podcast, you're going to a bar in Melbourne to pick up a hot chick. You might be married, I don't know, but point is, you know, you both have a different job to be done. Our responsibility as a company to find out what that is for that white t-shirt, and then find other customers like you to get them to buy it for that job to be done. That's the kind of thing that we're looking at about that process, and how you then get to that point where you can sell more.
Fantastic, and that just ties in so beautifully to, as you said, your newsletters, your copy, your social media content, everything. If you started to build that around, both Peter and I's reason for wearing a white shirt, you just get so much cut through. That's brilliant, mate. That's yeah, fantastic answer. I'll ask you the same question, mate. DTC brands that will do well in 2025 are focusing on what?
They're focusing on sustainable long-term growth activities, not quick fix, not sort of instant gratification things like Facebook ads, Google ads. Those are things, if you turn them on, they're working well, cool, great. You turn them off, guess what? You don't have a business.
Mm.
You've got to focus on the long-term sustainable things. What I'm talking about here is got to focus on SEO. You've got to focus on CRO. Yes, I'm plugging what we do, but ultimately CRO is it's. I've actually written a LinkedIn post about it today. It's compound interest. If you get one win today, you get another win next week. If you compound these tiny little wins, 1%ers, just tiny little increases in your revenue, that compounding of those little wins back to back over time are huge. I did a rough calculation on a 100k brand today, and I was like, okay, if you did 2 little optimizations in a month, you got 2 wins, and all you did was increase that by 1%. So that works out to about 2% growth month on month, right? After 5 years, if you were a 100k brand doing 100k in monthly revenue, in 5 years' time, you've actually made, over that 5-year period, you've made an additional 5 million in revenue. It's actually over 5 million. And that is mental. Like, to think that you weren't even, you were a 1.2 million a year brand. You've now made, over those 5 years, you've actually doubled because you've made an additional 5 in that period. And that's just by doing little incremental changes. And look, sometimes you have wins, sometimes you have losses. To say that you're always going to have a 1% is a bit crude. That's a bit, a rough calculation. But sometimes you're going to have a 20-30% win. So that's not even taking consideration some of the big wins you can have. So you can imagine what that sort of long-term, sustainable focus on little things that can improve your store, that look little, like you go 1%, oh, that's great, cool, you've made me $500 this month. Yeah, but we've made you $500 this month, plus next month, plus next month, plus next month. And ultimately, those things are adding up. The other ones that you can focus Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so plus, every time you get that new client, that new customer, gets a Google review, like it all starts to roll in beautifully. And just before you go to your next point, I've got a podcast going live, which will be live by the time this one gets published. And the founder said that he improved his conversion rate by 0.5% and added an extra $1 million to his business. So that's how important it is, to just continue to improve and optimize, which is, obviously what you guys do, but even for me with SEO, like it's the same thing. It's just going to the gym in a health sense, going to the gym, eating right, not trying to lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks or, 10 kilos in 5 weeks. It's eating right, good healthy diet, consistently over a long period of time. It's unsexy, it's boring, but it accumulates over time. So
I think the problem is,
great
Ryan,
point.
people are addicted to the fat burning pills, which is PPC, aren't they? We've been in this environment for the past 10 years where, look, particularly with the US and UK, we've gone from times where some people are getting 25, 30 ROAS. And if you've grown up with that, if you've been consuming those pills, your expectation is that everything else in e-commerce is going to be the same. We know it ain't like that. But like you said there, I think that's a really good way to look at it with SEO and CRO. It is about the boring stuff, about cranking it out, about getting in the gym 5 days a week. But like you say, that is with you then. It's not going to fall away like PPC can go up and down. Now, I'm not saying PPC shouldn't be part of your plan, but it can't be your whole plan because you will get your ass kicked. It's got to be said. So sorry to jump in there, guys, but I just wanted to say that bit.
No, you're preaching to the converted, absolutely. I think 35% of people now have ad blockers. Like there's just so much, and I just see so many brands neglect SEO. I'm trying to work out why, but I think it is just the need for urgency and getting sales now and getting them quickly, as opposed to taking the time, eating the right foods, exercising, building good habits, which is, to Peter's point there, sustainability, long-term, profitable sustainability. Google Ads, you stop bidding on it, you're not there tomorrow. Google doesn't go, you know what, you spend 100 grand with us, here's a couple of extra clicks. They just don't. It's less trusted. But anyway, look, I guess we are preaching to the converted here. But if someone's listening, definitely just look at your SEO and understand that it's actually a nutritious meal. It's a gym membership. It's all that rolled into one. It just doesn't happen next week. But yeah, good point, Adam, as well. And Peter, did you have another point to the question I asked about 40 minutes ago?
Yeah, I think I was just going to add. I was just going to add sort of some of the other strategies around sustainable long term. So obviously, I said that you got your SEO, you got your CRO, and to your point about like with Google, if you stop working with your SEO agency or your CRO agency, they don't go and remove the work that they've done. So you stop losing that money and you stop getting the benefit of what they've done in the past. Whereas what you do with ads, if you're paying for it, once you stop, those ads are gone, and it's like the equivalent of us going and removing that and saying, "Oh no, well, you're not paying us anymore. You can't have that anymore." It's there for life. It's something that you're going to benefit for as long as you look after it. The other two sort of strategies I was going to mention is obviously investing in content. Now that plays into both the CRO and the SEO side, but content is becoming more and more important, especially video and your product imagery, and the different ways to even search a site now based on video and imagery is becoming more and more important. But also all the social channels are becoming more and more important for you to get those sales. So investing in content, and then the last one is community. Investing in community. I'm not saying that you have to sing Kumbaya with all your customers and do that, but building something and building, it's brand extension now, and brand is becoming community. That's what we're seeing, and that's what we're seeing. What I think is sustainable growth is building out that.
Yeah, spot on. And again, like it just makes me reflect on the podcast guests that I've had on this year. I was talking to my mic, it might be easier. And yeah, they've all said that same thing of building community, whether it's a Facebook community group, which doesn't allow you to advertise, but people become advocates and talk about your products, and you're living that community and you're living your brand values. Any way you can do that, to offline events, to helping them from a CRO perspective as well, just helping that community make a good, smart choice for what's going to suit them as opposed to anything else. Fantastic. Let's get into a little bit of specificity. Yeah, hard to say. Can you explain what the perfect product page should include on it? Let's go. Who do we go with? Who went first last time? We'll go with Peter.
So what's the question? Perfect.
Yeah. What's the what does a perfect product page have? You touched on that a little while ago around having your warranties or your free shipping and returns process and that. But from an ideal product page, what should they be covering off?
I'm gonna try and work my way down a page visually in my head. Right. So high quality images and video, 100%. I can't stress this enough. This is something that is becoming so important right now. Making sure that your product images and your product videos are quick, easy to digest, quickly give a lot of the information away. This is where video becomes even more powerful. Somebody can watch a video and learn everything they need to know about your product and everything that they need to know about your return policy, everything on your product page. And you can use tools like VideoWise now that they can actually watch that video and purchase it within that video. It's on your product page, it pops up full screen, cool, but it's actually got a product widget as well. So 100% that's most important thing, barring your call to action, of course. Product description. I think product descriptions are probably one of the most underestimated elements on a site. A lot of people, when they start their store, they'll go and write their product descriptions, or their friend or their brother's friend or their brother's mother's friend will come and write their product description, and it's not optimized. It's not written in a way that's going to get conversions. So that is the next most important thing. So for your people that are readers, that don't watch videos, that read, that product description really does come in here. And this is where jobs to be done, like Adam was talking about, really help you drive that copy and make sure that you're hitting the pain points that you need to hit. Always recommend the easiest way to go here is the Pain Agitate Solution framework for this. And also the other place that you can go and find some great elements for your copy is your review mining. Go and actually mine your reviews and find what your customer says and use their language as well in that product description. Another place to find that is your customer service tickets. Go and mine your customer service tickets and figure out how they talk about your products and why they're buying your products. Okay, so images, video, then we got product description. Obviously, you've got to have a nice, clear area where you have your product options, your price, very clear pricing. If there's a saving, have the percentage saving and the dollar saving on those elements. Some people like to see the percentage, some people like to see what they're actually saving in dollar value. Or test, see which one works best for your brand. Sometimes the percentage looks bigger than if it ultimately works down to like $2 and people don't care. But if you've got there, hey, this is 10%, that looks a bit better than the $2. Then your product options need to be really easy to click on, for one. Then you need to have your call to action. Following your call to action, I would say have something like stock availability, your returns policy, payment options. So, if you've got different ways that people can pay, and that's something that may be attractive, like Apple Pay is very obviously popular, so have that little logo there. Or if you've got the ability for payment plans. If you've got payment plans then as well, they've then got another ability to go, hey, I can afford this right now and I can purchase it and then pay an interest fee over time. Moving down, if your product is like clothing, fit size guides, make sure that it's quick and easy to get to. Shipping and returns, information about when they'll get the product. This is all like above the fold stuff on desktop. Trying to get it above the fold. So there's so much that you need to get through here. Then you want to go into your cross-selling and your cross promotion, related products, things like that. Trust signals, I would test trust signals above that as well. So your reviews, maybe above your recommended products, but normally you find that just below, but you've got your reviews at the top of the page and the top of your product form.
Yep.
And then going down, adding any other additional information that could be objection busting, frequently asked questions, things like that people might have missed that you're just going to reiterate now going down the page.
Yep. Perfect. That's pretty good. Yeah, maybe some as you touched on, social proof as well, whether it's people some UGC if you've sort of, depends on how big the brand is, but people using the product could potentially work as well. Adam, how did he go?
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea that there is like 3 or 4 people now writing down what it said, and they've got a picture of a product page that all looks slightly different. It's kind of that game that you play where you describe something and people write it down, which would be quite cool. But I think one thing that I've been hearing about at the moment, Ryan, which I guess is related to kind of your world, SEO, is particularly on product pages, with this kind of new Google AI summaries that have come in. Being able to make sure that your product pages can also then tie into that. So I think that's another thing, that is kind of coming down the pipe that we need to make sure that we've got. But like Pete said, that it's those core elements. Ultimately, we're in that mode where we're trying to prove our worthiness to a customer, and we need to use those different tools to be able to do it. So yeah, I think he cut off a lot there. But look, if anybody wants, us to have a look at their product page, just shoot us a message again on LinkedIn, and we can get a team to have a look at it for you and come back to you with some ideas as well.
Yeah, spot on, mate, and I appreciate the offer. I'll put your LinkedIn profiles in the show notes as well, so someone can find them easy. So I'll make the show notes a proper CRO page as well. There's a lot of good information there. Is it possible to increase AOV without utilising a discount?
Yes. Bundles.
Should have pointed to someone there. Adam, you go.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it 3 or 4 times already. Bundles. Giving customers an opportunity to see a group of products together and the reasoning as to why you should buy them is the way that we have boosted AOV a lot this year. Now, generally speaking, clients that work with us after about 6 months, we get their AOV up by about 60%. Bundling is one part of that. The other part of it as well is using a tool called Rebuy with upsells on there. And those are also then upsells that are based on data, based on what they've previously looked at. And also as well with data based on what they've previously purchased as well. So yeah, for us, I mean, look, discounting, I mean, Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not even sure we have many clients that use discounting as a strategy in general anymore, do we? Because we're so anti it from an LTV perspective, and there's other ways of doing it. So yeah, I think, is that the case, Peter, I think?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, you've probably got from us that we hate discounts. It's a quick fix. That's what people are doing. They're using this discount, a quick fix, to try and get a conversion, but ultimately it's costing them, and sometimes you'd rather not get that sale.
Yep.
I mean, 100% to answer your question, are there ways to increase it without discounting? Yeah, like, you can do everything that you normally do with discounts, just remove the discount. It's ultimately about this is personalization, right? Making the right recommendation for the right product at the right time. You're going to increase that average order value. And also, by presenting those, you're showing a product to somebody that probably hasn't seen it, right? So if you're going and you're saying, hey, here's an upsell, a cross-sell, say we're selling dog treats, right? We sell the main treat or the dog food, and then as they add that to cart, in the slide out cart, you've got, hey, have you considered these treats? Most people that buy the dog food you bought actually buy these treats. Cool. Okay, well, we figured that out from data. That's why we know that's a great product to add to that one, because that's the brand that people go for when they buy that dog food. That's just a perfect time. That's one less place that person has to go on your site, going back to your collection pages, going back to the home page, going to look at the treats and then adding it. You've just made it easy for them. You've just given it to them right there in cart, so they can do their shopping quicker, easier, simpler, making sure that they add that product to cart and check out. Because ultimately they could go, and if they've got no time, they're going to go, oh, I've got the dog food, I don't need to worry about the treats today. Cool, let's just go for it.
Yep.
It's the old shopping cart, like the convenience things, right, as you're leaving checkout, the chocolate bars, the easy purchases, making sure that you're offering those throughout the user journey is what's going to get your average order value.
How do you find adding bundles or adding the cross-sells or the upsells, I should say, at the checkout stage? Is that interrupting their checkout? Are they less likely to check out if you trying to do that upsell, or are you better off waiting until they check out first and then adding on as a post sell?
Awesome question, Ryan. Like, this is one that we get asked a lot. The answer is offer it everywhere. Yep. Don't worry about doing it pre-checkout and then post-checkout or during checkout. Do it as they add that product to cart, in the slide out cart. It's got to be there. Look, it's got to be non-obtrusive, right? It's got to be subtle. It's got to be non-obtrusive. It can't be... What you see a lot of people do is they'll have this big pop-up as you add to cart. They'll be like, hey, have you considered adding these things? And it's like, hell no, get that out of my face right now. Let's rather Get them further down the process. Look, they've just given you a great indication they've added to cart. Next step here is to get them to cart, to get them to checkout. Give them the cart, don't block that, but in cart have these little subtle like areas. Other customers also bought, or normally we add these products to cart as well. Have you considered this? Those type of little gestures in the cart, in the process, so they can either go, yeah, great, we'll add that, or hell, I'm not interested at all, I just want this product, and you can hit the checkout button at that point. But then making it convenient again, if they've missed that, in the checkout process. And ultimately, and this is probably the only time that I will condone, it sounds like I'm the one that's the god of discounts here.
Yeah.
Condone discounts is once they've actually hit purchase and they've paid, that post-purchase upsell. And going, hey, I've offered you this thing to you 3-4 times now. You've either missed it or you weren't interested at that price point. Thank you so much. You've already ordered. But you know what? We've still got space in that box we're going to send you. Therefore, we're going to have a bit of a saving if you actually just add this in any case. So have a discount on this additional product, but after purchase. So you've already got that conversion, and now you've got that ability to still boost that average order value with an upsell post-purchase, so you can actually offer that little discount at that point.
Yeah, fantastic. That makes complete sense. Adam, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of summarize what Pete said there in terms of different stages. So product page, bundles, you build custom or use a bundling tool. In terms of the checkout, use rebuy. And in terms of the post-purchase, use order editing. So those are kind of the 3 different ways of actually doing sort of what Peter was mentioning there as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Look, we've covered a lot. This is one of my favourite episodes. I can't wait to get this published because you guys have been so generous with your information and just giving all the gold to our listeners. So I really appreciate your time. What's the best way to get in touch with you guys generally? Is it LinkedIn? Is that the best way? Or
yeah, we're big LinkedIn fans, Ryan. So yeah, as I said, I know you're going to share our LinkedIn profiles in the show notes. Yeah, do get in touch. Just have a chat with us. Take the piss out of us. We love all that stuff, especially from Aussies to a Pom A. So yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, considering the audience is Australian, probably best to just reach me on Australian time. Adam was late for this podcast because he was still sleeping. You can drop me a message and we can get you a timely reply.
Working hard. I can see the sweat dripping off his forehead right now. Before I go, I haven't really touched on the Ecom Collab Club. So are you guys running a few events? What's the activity like in Australia in terms of your events?
Yeah, we've run one so far, and we did it in Sydney last month, the month before, I can't remember. But that's going to be rolling out next year in full tilt. So it'll be one a quarter in all the big cities. So we'll do Sydney, we'll do Melbourne, and we'll do Brisbane. And so 4 events in each big city over the course of next year. Networking event for anybody in e-commerce space, brands, agencies, tech, everybody's welcome. We're talking conversations like what we did today. All about giving value, no sales pitches. Everybody's there to try and just learn a little bit more, sort of ethos of those events that we run. In addition to that, hit us up on LinkedIn as well. We'll get you added to the database of the D2C dining, where we hold dinners for brands, and it's just brands sitting down, just networking with other brands, having a good dinner with each other. We try to do it with a bit of an experience somewhere that's not too pokey and horrible, and as Adam will say, white wine sauce and
chicken and white wine sauce, the classic British conference meal. I think it's just horrible.
Yeah, we try and do it where it's good food, good banter, good company. Basically, just giving brands the ability to network and learn from each other as well.
Yeah, fantastic. No, yeah, as I said, I've thoroughly enjoyed the hour or so that we spent together, and looking forward to doing a few more with you guys in the coming months or years or whatever that may be. So really appreciate your time. Thanks for all the awesome information, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks for having us, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, been great to be on. Thank you.